The Philippines. Hello everyone from Beijing. I'm Liu Xin, your moderator here in the Chinese capital, and welcome to China's 1 hour in this global tour. Welcome back. Let us join other member states to continue the ILO 24-hour global tour. I'm the host of CGTN, the Chinese International Global TV. By the way, I was for 6 years an overseas correspondent in Geneva, Switzerland, where I covered many ILO-related stories. So it is with great pleasure and honor that I have this opportunity to host this very special live broadcast for you. Now, today's world is undergoing unprecedented changes. New technologies, globalization, demographic changes, and climate change are just some of the factors reshaping our ways of work and life in an unprecedented manner. Such changes, of course, bring both challenges and opportunities. Therefore, promoting decent work and building a better future of work had become a major theme for the international community, in particular the International Labour Organization, which is celebrating its 100th anniversary. Today, the Ministry of Human Resources and Social Security of China, the All China Federation of Trade Unions, and the China Enterprise Confederation are jointly organizing a high-level tripartite forum in order to celebrate ILO's centenary under the theme of joint efforts for a shared future of work. At the forum, a report of the Global Commission on the Future of Work will be discussed, while representatives of China's tripartite constituents and youth will share their understandings on and solutions for the future of work. Let's go to my colleague Zhou Ying at the forum.
Hello there, Liu Xin, and welcome to the opening session of China's high-level tripartite forum on the joint efforts for a shared future of work. Well, this session is now chaired by Mr. Qiu Xiaoping, who's the Vice Minister of the Ministry of Human Resources and Social Security. And in a very short period of time, Mr. Zhang Jinan, who's the Minister of Human Resources and Social Security, will deliver a keynote speech here at the forum. And now let's wait and take a look.
Next, we are going to the first item on the agenda. I will kindly invite on the stage, Minister Zhang Jinan to give us his opening remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, good morning. In this beautiful season of spring, China's Ministry of Human Resources and Social Security, the All China Federation of Trade Unions, and the China Enterprise Confederation hold a special meeting to commemorate the centennial anniversary of the establishment of the ILO under the theme of joint efforts for a shared future of work. Over the past 100 years, the ILO has worked closely together with governments, employers, and workers' organizations to safeguard the rights of workers, promote decent work, and contribute to the achievement of social equity and justice throughout the world. Facing economic globalization, scientific and technological development, demographic changes, and the profound impact of climate change, on the world of work. The ILO looks to the future and proposes a human-centered agenda, which will have great significance for the future of work. On this occasion, please allow me, on behalf of the Ministry of Human Resources and Social Security of the People's Republic of China, to extend my sincere congratulations to the ILO and express my heartfelt appreciation for the human-centered agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, in recent years, the Chinese
The Minister of Human Resources and Social Security delivering a keynote speech here at the opening ceremony, and later on Mr. Li Yufu, who's the Vice President and Secretary General of the Secretariat, the All China Federation of the Trade Unions, and also Mr. Zhu Hongren, who's the Executive Vice Chairman and Director General of the China Enterprise Confederation, and also Mr. Nicholas Roslini, UN Resident Coordinator in China, are all going to deliver their remarks. And after all these sessions, a panel discussion will take place here in which the speakers will exchange views on the challenges and opportunities in the world of work, as well as the obligations and responses from various social sectors in the light of report of the Global Commission on the Future of Work. Back in the studio, Liu Xin.
Thank you very much, Zoe, for bringing us some highlights from that ongoing forum, which is very important. We hope to hear more from the outcome of the report and the discussion on the venue. However, we also have invited a very interesting panel of three representatives from the three constituents that I just mentioned. We have Mr. Hao Bing, who is the Director of the Department of International Cooperation under the Ministry of Human Resources and the Social Security of China. Ms. Yao Li, Director of International Liaison Department of the All China Federation of Trade Unions, and Ms. Liu Han-song, Chief Officer for International Labor Affairs and Deputy Director of the International Department of the China Enterprise Confederation. Welcome to this live broadcast.
Thank you very much.
It's great to have you from a different part of work. We have from the government, from the enterprise, and from trade unions. So we will have a very comprehensive look of the entire picture. But before we go to detailed discussion, I just want to give people a rough idea of what the employment dynamic, the social security system of China looks like at this moment. And I understand that we have some AR data. So let's take a look at some of these very interesting data. And the first chart I'm going to show you is about the development of per capita disposable income of Chinese residents. We can see that from 2013, the number was 18,000 renminbi, which equals to about $2,700, and that number continued to rise until 2018 last year, which is roughly $4,200 per capita. And the population that are poverty-stricken, we can see that has been continuously decreasing. In the year 2013, that stood at some 82.4 million, and by 2018, we only had about 16.6 million poverty-stricken people in China. And there is one more chart which shows the poverty rate among rural residents, which has also been decreasing very rapidly. I understand the number for 2013 was 8.5, and by last year was 1.7. Incredible trends, very, very significant numbers, Mr. Hao. Let me start with you. How important is the dynamic in the employment system contributing to all of these changes?
Thank you very much, Liu Xin. To maintain a stable employment situation has been always a priority for China. To achieve this goal, China put forward a proactive employment strategy. This strategy is certainly very comprehensive. I would like to highlight two aspects. One, the targeted group, young people, young university students, migrant workers. The second, about approaches, many approaches, one being supporting business startups. The proactive employment strategy has been, in my view, very, very successful. For instance, last year, in 2018, there were over 13 million new jobs created.
13 million.
Indeed, which means our unemployment rate is about 5 percentage points. So we can see China achieved relatively full employment for a large country with a population close to 1.4 billion, and a country whose economy has come under consistent downward pressure. This achievement is remarkable.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. If you think about 30 million, that's almost bigger than the population of many, well, almost twice the population of Switzerland, let's say. So, Ms. Liu, from the enterprise perspective, how significant, how much of a challenge it is to provide service in the employment market? How important is that part in achieving all of these numbers?
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Lucy. Currently, China has formed a social security system with social insurance, social aid, and social welfare as foundation, basic elderly care, basic medical care, and subsistence allowance system as priorities. A safety net has taken shape to ensure the elderly are taken care of, the sick are treated, and the weak are supported. During this process, the employees' organization in China, speaking for enterprises, took part in the drafting and the promulgation of relevant laws, regulations, and policies through various channels. Chinese enterprises have actively fulfilled their duty of making social insurance contributions, playing their due role in the consolidation and development of social security system.
Okay, so I understand that you were actually talking about a social security network, and that is, of course, very, very important for all of the employment that has been created in the country of 1.4 billion, and on an annual basis, 13 million new jobs are being created. Now let's take a look at a short video about how various services are in place to help people find jobs. Let's take a look.
This is the Kunming Namba Public Employment Service, a public employment service office for migrant workers in southwest China. So far, the Namba Public Employment Service has helped millions of people find jobs and achieve re-employment. Hundreds of thousands of people have walked out of the mountains and further out of Yunnan and find jobs in other provinces through the services provided by the market. This is the Zhengzhou Public Employment Service in central China. It is committed to providing a smart and paperless recruitment service to make it more convenient for employers and for workers. In China, there are hundreds, even thousands of other public employment services like the two in Kunming and Zhengzhou.
Indeed. Besides all of the services that are available for young people and for people who have been laid off to re-find their jobs, vocational training plays an absolutely important role. Actually, some people are saying because of globalization in some developed countries, for instance, jobs have been lost. But one part that has been missing is that you are not providing enough training for the people who might be left behind because of globalization, because of outsourcing of jobs. So, Mr. Hao, what kind of experience can China share with us in terms of providing skills, training for people?
Thank you. Skills is extremely important for a productive employment. The Chinese government invests a large amount of public resources in skills and vocational trainings. So government support various kinds of training programs for laid-off workers and migrant workers and people with disability. So some of the programs are organized by government, but many others were actually carried out by training institutions in collaboration with government agencies and social partners. A large number of people are being trained, and their employability, as you rightly pointed out just a moment ago, has been enhanced, therefore enabling them to have access to labor market to find employment. I would also like to point out that this skill training is a very effective way of combating poverty. And having skill would oftentimes help them to find employment, therefore lift them out of poverty.
Yeah, it's very important, as I said, the social security net that Ms. Liu has talked about, which has basically developed from scratch to cover almost a great part of the country, almost over 95% of the Chinese population. What kind of role is Chinese Enterprise Confederation playing in that regard, Ms. Liu? Very briefly, please.
Yeah, thank you. This is a serious concern for enterprise indeed. We understand that the government has been building an internet plus social security module in recent years. Companies and insured citizens only need to log into one website to get online services or make one visit to one department for offline consultations. Social security services are becoming more convenient and more efficient.
Okay. All right. I understand just now Mr. Hao also talked about the kind of collaboration between different between government agencies and different social partners in terms of providing skill training and also setting up the social security system. Shall we take a look at some more AR data here? And I understand that we have some very important figures to illustrate the extent of China's social security network. Mr. Hao, would you like to elaborate on some of these numbers?
Thank you very much. Just as the graphic indicate, China's social security system coverage extends really very fast. As we see in the last paragraph, that in 1997, only 100 million people participated in pension. But in 1980, that's 900 million, so an increase of over 7 times. That's a large, significant increase. Speaking of the medical insurance, today we have a coverage of 1.3 billion people. That's 95% of our population is covered by certain kind of medical insurances. That's the reason why China's achievement in social security extension being recognized by the international community. In 2016, China was given this award of outstanding achievement for social security by the International Social Security Association.
I think that is even something which some developed countries have yet to realize, right? To provide a social network, social security network that is so comprehensive. I understand that, for instance, 30 million jobs are created annually last year, and every day over 10,000, almost 1.5, almost 15,000 new market entities are created, which means there are many, many companies who have to take care of social security for their employees. Indeed. And that could be a lot of red tape. That could be a lot of running around, getting stamps. So how are these works being simplified, being streamlined is also a very big challenge. Our reporter went to the southern province of Zhejiang and the Hangzhou city to take a look at what social security procedures have been simplified in this Internet Plus era. Let's take a look.
Hello everyone, I'm now live in the hall of Hangzhou Social Security Center, which provides all the clients with one-window services, which means once you step inside, just queue up with a ticket and all your issues will be resolved in this one service window. Today, I'll be accompanying a business manager to see how convenient it really is. Let's go. Where's my partner? Here. 女士你好，
你好，
请问女士贵姓？
我姓杜。
杜女士今天是想来办理什么业务呢？
今天来社保办理职工的参保登记以及女职工的生育保险的代予支付等4项业务。
好的。Today I'll go with Mrs. Du, who will be helping her employees with the joining and terminating insurance and paying the maternity insurance benefits for female workers. Without further ado, let's get started.
请您206号到6号窗口。
你好，请今天来办什么业务？现在市场有，首先第一项是职工的参保。
It seems like everything is moving very smoothly. As we can see here, Hangzhou Social Security Center do not work as assembly line now. All the business are integrated into one window, and operators here are required to fulfill their tasks and fulfill their multiple tasks and fulfill whatever the clients ask for. And as you can see here, there are also self-service machines where you can print your certificate and check your transactions. As far as I know, there are more than 50 services that can be processed online, which can reduce the number of people who come to the social insurance hall and improve the processing efficiency. And results are directly transmitted through the internet or express delivery services. And individuals can also use them to view or print their personal insurance information or see their payment details through some government service network such as WeChat, Alipay, and other platforms. It seems that everything is nearly done. 杜女士对今天的服务还满意吗？
非常满意。自从人社推出了这个一窗式的服务以来，我们企业在一个窗口都能把所有的事情都办结了，所以对我们来说提高了我们很多的那个效率，然后节省了我们时间。
好的，非常感谢您。Just now, Mrs. Zhu just told me that she's very satisfied with this one window services. She told me that it's very convenient and very time-saving. This one window services has been implemented and promoted all across China, furthering the convenience to all these Chinese citizens. I believe the future will look even brighter as we can access more, better, and faster ways of social services.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. Within 1 minute, you get all of the things you want to do, and you probably don't have to go there ever again. Although compared to the convenience, the extreme speed that technology has brought us to make laws, on the other hand, which is a very important foundation for the protection of labor rights, it takes very long process and a lot of work. So I want to come to that part at this moment, and I want to go to Ms. Yao Li from the All China Federation of Trade Unions. I know since the 1980s, China developed and revised a series of labor laws, and the trade unions have played a very important role there to help the promulgation and revision of these laws. Could you elaborate on that, please?
Yes, sure. That is very true. Since reform and opening up, China has adopted a series of laws and regulations on labor relations and social security. And all these laws and regulations have taken in relevant contents of the international labor standards and have established a rule-based environment for regulating the labor market, and in particular protecting of the workers' rights and interests. As for the roles of the trade unions in this, I would like to say, first of all, the Chinese trade unions always considered taking part in the legislation as a priority. For example, we participated into the entire process of the drafting of the labor contract law in 2007 and its revision in 2012. And we put forward a number of proposals. And the union's opinions were respected and well incorporated in this law. As for the implementation of the laws, the trade unions mainly play a supervising role in three aspects. The first is to supervise the enforcement of the law in cooperation with the government. And the second is to organize legal awareness campaigns among the workers so as to empower the workers to protect themselves by using the law. And thirdly is to provide legal service and assistance to the workers involved in labor disputes. We have actually a two-letter system. Two letters.
Okay.
System that
Tell us
is
about that.
两书制度 in Chinese. When we find out any loopholes or violations at workplace, we will write a letter to the management informing the problems and ask them to rectify. If the management rejects our proposal, we will write another letter to labor inspectorates and request them to intervene.
Okay, so your role is very much in the power of words and power of supervision. Very important point you mentioned there. Well, to have the laws is one thing, right? An old Chinese saying goes, if you just have laws, it's not enough. The laws will not enforce themselves. So when you have a relatively sound legal basis, how to enforce these laws become the paramount issue. Our reporter earlier went to 3 cities in China to talk to representatives from labor inspection and labor dispute settlement institutions. Let's take a look at what they found out.
Shanghai was the first city in China to create a grid and network-based system for labour inspection, which divided jurisdictions into grids according to the scope of sub-districts or communities. Each grid was equipped with labour inspectors and entrusted with clear responsibilities so as to achieve full coverage of employers and workers in the grid. Built on this model, a labour inspection information management system was created to collect and make good use of law enforcement information. These two innovative measures facilitated the development of information-based management, the standardization of law enforcement, and the integration of labour inspection in different grids. Such a model has been promoted all around China, changing the labour inspection model from a reactive into an active and prevention-oriented one, and extending the coverage of the system from being mainly in the cities to both the urban and rural areas. China has not only enhanced administrative law enforcement, but also established a tripartite mechanism for labour dispute settlement. Arbitration committees have been established with the representatives from administrative institutions, trade unions, and employers, under which affiliated labour dispute arbitration courts have been set up to carry out the mediation and arbitration of labour disputes. In dealing with labour disputes, the mediation process always comes first, and most of the disputes are resolved by mediation. In order to increase the convenience and efficiency of dispute settlements in recent years, explorations have been made in some areas on internet mediation. It enables online applications for arbitration appointments, for case registration and case inquiries, providing great convenience to both parties of the dispute.
So we've had a general look of the kind of employment dynamic, social security system, labor law, and the kind of services people can get in order to find jobs and skills. But looking all of that with one glance, Mr. Hao, I wonder how it has been possible for a country of 1.4 billion people to achieve all of that in a very short period of time.
Thank you. China adhered to the principle of putting people first, so has been unswervingly and vigorously pushed forward reform and opening up and development. I think this is primarily the reason why China has been able, over this period of time, make such great strides to improve the well-being of our people, to generate more and better jobs, and to protect our people's rights. And in this process, the international collaboration is very important. Our cooperation with International Labour Organization is an extremely important one.
I understand that China was actually one of the early members, but we only went back into this organization or resumed our activity in the organization since 1983. And China launched a series of cooperation projects with ILO since that period of time, writing a very important chapter in the 100-year history of the organization. So what did it mean for China to be back as a member of the ILO? For China and for the ILO, our reporters interviewed Ms. Zhang Youyun, the then director of the Bureau for Gender Equality at the ILO, who was also former Director General of the Department of International Cooperation of the former Chinese Ministry of Labor. Let's take a look.
China is a founding member of the International Labour Organization, and it attaches great importance to its relations with the ILO. Since China adopted the policy of opening up and reform in the last century, the relations between the two sides have been developing in breadth and depth, especially in recent years. The technical cooperation projects and exchanges between the two sides have been carried out very extensively in broad areas ranging from labor laws, employment policies, employment services, employment promotion, social security, vocational training, and social dialogue, labor inspection, almost each and every aspect in the world of work. The first project that came to my mind is the well-known SYB, that's How to Start Your Business, and IYB, How to Improve Your Business. In the late 90s of last century, China carried out large-scale economic restructuring, resulting at large numbers of workers who became laid off. Now, against this background, the ILO introduced the project into China. A lot of workers were trained in this program, and a lot of laid-off workers were helped to start up their micro businesses. And also, in this process, the government, the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, developed and formed a series of policies and regulations and guidelines to facilitate the efforts of job creation. And these policies later on were formed into the active labor, active employment policies, which laid a solid foundation for the making of the law of employment promotion. Today, I think also there are some new developments. You know, China used to be a recipient country of aid from the ILO, but now we are shifting this. We are shifting our relationship with the ILO, other countries, to a third party. So we will further develop our relations with the ILO and work even more closely with the ILO and with other member countries to implement and meet the goal set in the SDG.
To give you a better picture of the current ongoing cooperation between China and the ILO, we also interviewed Ms. Anne Herbert, the former director of the ILO Beijing office in the ILO headquarters by the beautiful Geneva Lake in Switzerland.
Well, I have to say that if I look over the past decade, one of the things I found most inspiring was the tremendous expansion of social protection in China, notably the pension scheme. In 2010, the year I arrived in China, they adopted the social insurance law, and that set a policy framework for extending universal pension coverage, hopefully within a 10-year period. The target date was 2020. So this aim of achieving universal pension coverage, I thought, was a very inspiring one. And I think also that if you look beyond China to the Asian region and then to the wider world, there are many, many developing countries that are struggling with the same challenges that China faced. To be able to see this demonstration of political will, investment, and real vision of universal coverage, I found very inspiring, and I think many others found inspiring as well. Well, when I arrived in Beijing in 2010, much of the world was still reeling from the global financial crisis, and many countries that had been traditional donors providing funds for technical cooperation projects were looking again about whether or not this was a good investment. At the same time, China, on its own initiative, and in this case it was the Ministry of Human Resources and Social Security, approached me and wanted to explore the possibility of China becoming a donor, providing funds for technical cooperation in areas of China's expertise. So we had some discussions that led to the reaching of an agreement whereby China would provide funding, but also its expertise and its experience. So while I was there, we reached an agreement and this project got underway.
Looking ahead, the future of work is full of uncertainties and challenges due to the combined effects of the digital revolution, the production globalization, aging, environmental problems, just to name a few. How shall we respond to such challenges? Here is what Ms. Kutai Amoda from the ILO Beijing Bureau had to say.
I think now, today, the world of work, so 100 years later, the world of work is still going through very deep transformations, and those changing are happening very fast, I think, probably more rapidly today than ever before. One being, of course, globalization, the deepness of globalization, the scope of globalization today. Our economies are more interdependent than ever before. We also have other drivers of change, for example, the demographics. We are in aging societies in China, but not only in China. We also have issues such as climate change with direct impact on the world of work. And of course, technologies, how new technologies are impacting the world of work. We have seen many jobs being created. China is, I think, a very good example. A third of all the jobs being created in China over the last 3 years were actually directly linked to new technology, a third. So that's a very important part. The advantage is that we can bring job creation and development to those areas which are remote or disadvantaged. Through the internet, people can work from virtually everywhere. But of course, there are also some risks, I think, that we can expect in the future. One of them, of course, is that we cannot deny the fact that technology can destroy jobs or replace workers. The other aspect in terms of risks is that we cannot say that all the jobs that have been created by new technology are necessarily good quality jobs or decent jobs, as we call it in the ILO. Some of them are rather short-term, temporary, unstable, with low pay, with very prospect for improvement, to make sure that technology enables us to really promote decent jobs. I think that's going to be a very important challenge. And more generally, I think the fundamental question is to make sure that technology remains at the service of the people.
Decent jobs. Well, when China opened up 40 years ago, modern Chinese corporate culture was still in its infancy, and a lot has to be learned from foreign counterparts and foreign multinationals which came into China. Now, Chinese enterprises have significantly upgraded themselves both in production, management and social responsibility. In this regard, we interviewed Mr. Zhu Hongren from the China Enterprise Confederation.
中国企业联合会成立于1979年。 是改革开放以来中国成立的第一个经济类的全国性的社会组织。中国企业联合会以面向企业、为企业和企业家服务作为自己的宗旨，同时呢，致力于当好政府和企业之间的桥梁纽带。全球化是联合国以及国际劳工组织一直倡导的一个重要的理念。中国企联 坚持认为，我们应该呢共同维护，并且呢实践这样一个理念。我们认为，经济全球化它有利于商品、资本、人员的流动，可以给生产者呢提供更宽泛的市场，给消费者提供更多的选择。在这样的一个大背景下，应该说呢，中国企业做出了自己的贡献。 我们知道，近20年，中国经济的增长，每年对于全球经济增长的所占的比率，都达到了30%左右。在挪威工商总会的支持与参加下，中国、挪威还有在东非的一些国家，像坦桑尼亚、肯尼亚、乌干达，还有像埃塞俄比亚等等。 这些国家的雇主组织，我们一起呢设立了一个做走进非洲的负责任的企业的这样的一个项目。基于中国企联和挪威工商总会以及东非几国的雇主组织的合作，以及呢我们在坦桑尼亚、乌干达、肯尼亚的这个构建和谐劳动关系的实践，我们呢把这一段的工作进行了总结。 形成了投资东非、做建立和谐劳动关系的企业的这样的一个手册，受到了许多投资非洲的中国企业的欢迎，也为当地的雇主组织、商会和中国驻当地机构的肯定与称赞。我们非常高兴地看到，国际劳工组织迎来了自己的100年盛典，中国企业联合会 将会一如既往地支持国际劳工组织的发展，同时呢，更好地履行企业联合会的职责。我们衷心地希望，在进一步的发展中，国际劳工组织呢能够走上新征程，和参与国际劳工组织的各国的组织、各国的代表、各国的 这个劳动群体为创造一个更加美好的劳动世界的未来而做出自己的积极贡献。
The future of the world of work is not only influenced by economic globalization, but also new technology, as we mentioned, demographic changes and climate change. What are these challenges meaning to young people in China? Well, our reporters went out on the streets of China to find out their views.
think future works will take more advantages of information, technology, and machine.
Environmental problems and aging society is going to accelerate the creation of new employments in the industry of health and green energy.
I think the future work will be replaced by many AI and machines.
I think people won't have to work at their offices because they can convey their ideas with the help of telecommunication technologies.
As for this question, I think the key word is the equality. First one is the equality between men and women. I hope women can enjoy the same opportunity when facing a same job opportunity.
In the future, I think the power of the labor and the company will become more and more balanced. So the amount of the labor disputes were extremely reduced and even disappear.
I think the key is to establish human employment relations. Future labor relations should not only stimulate the efficiency of market, but also can protect workers and respect human nature.
There is more interactions between workers and organizations and companies, and especially for downstream workers, we'll have more anonymous and effective way to talk to the top.
If the company that I work for is willing to help me to improve myself, to acquire more professional skills and communication skills, I would be of more efficiency and more capable to help them produce more value they need.
Our young people should exploit their advantages to make value for our society and the future labor world.
I hope everyone can find a suitable job which can apply the skills we have learned.
I think in the future, every kind of job could be respected, and every people, no matter what they choose as their job, could enjoy a dignified life.
The boundary of labor relations among countries will be broken, and workers will participate in the global producing.
I think everyone should have decent work. The word decent have multidimensional meanings, which involves efficiency, equity, and voice.
Well, the young people of China, the future of our country, I think a lot of hope there we can see. One key word which I hear repeatedly coming up is skills. And it is true that I think it is a universal mismatch. Every country has similar problem that young people have a certain set of skills, whereas enterprises expect them to have certain set of skills and they don't necessarily match each other. So here we're talking about skills shortage. How much is that a problem in China, Ms. Liu Hansong, as you come from the Enterprise Confederation, and what is being done to address that gap?
Yeah, thank you. As for the skill shortage, I think on the one hand, the employees' organizations should cooperate with the government to study the changes and the needs in the labor market, guide and support the member companies in upskilling and the training of their employees. In particular, enterprise can play a leading role in building up and promoting the new apprenticeship to improve their workforce quality. On the other hand, employees should adapt to the new needs of future labor market and acquire new skills by lifelong learning.
Mm-hmm. And all of that is being done? Mr. Hao, she put a lot of pressure on you, on the government.
Work hard.
Work hard. Okay, I know, however, that the Chinese government has been putting a lot of resources in training young people and providing retraining or upskilling in your professional jargon. And I understand the kind of, the number of trainings that are being given and the quality of training that is being provided has been consistently going up. And a lot of Chinese people have been particularly inspired to take part in training because of competition. We love taking part in competition, especially if we do well. I understand in 2011, China participated in the World Skills Competition and we performed extremely well. So next I'm going to show you a short video of a champion of World Skills Competition, Jiang Ying Cheng, and how this changed his life. Let's take a look.
In October 2017, a 23-year-old Chinese man won the gold medal in car painting in World Skills Competition Abu Dhabi 2017. His name is Jiang Yingchen. The ordinary young man from a mountain village in Yunnan not only won the perennial championship for China in that skill, rewriting the history of World Skills Competition, but also changed his own destiny.
从小的话，自己家在农村嘛，也没有想到过来到这个杭州技术学院读书。因为我大伯他说，你现在还这么小，毕竟也还年轻，出去闯一闯就出来了。来到这个学校以后呢，就感觉这个环境很好，感觉自己来到了一个心目中想要来到的学校，想要学习的一个学校。
In July 2012, sponsored by the National Policies on Poverty Alleviation through Skill Development, Jiang Yingqing came to study at this national key high-skill talent training institution. After 4 years of hard work, he did not only master high-end skills, but also won a world championship. At this time, he made an important decision.
之前呢是别人在教我，现在呢是我要把我所学到的这些东西交给学生。
旧期呢，我们是用80号的打磨旧期的啊。
因为当时训练的时候，可能就有这种意识，国家学校花这么大的精力培养我们出来，并不光是为了这个比赛，更重要的是让我们能够把这个技术然后传承下去，传授给更多的学生，培养出更多的这种技术人才，让他们跟我一样，通过自己的努力改变他们自己的生活。
The Shanghai Public Training Base for Highly Skilled Talents focuses on talent training and occupational skills testing. It now provides training and assessment services to an annual average of around 400,000 professionals in 160 different professions across 79 categories. Since its establishment, more than 5 million professionals have received training or have had their skills evaluated by the base. The Shanghai Training Base for Entrepreneurs focuses on cultivating talents for innovation and entrepreneurship, with the aim of promoting employment by encouraging people to start businesses. So far, it has established 6 service platforms and established a complete service chain, allowing entrepreneurs to build capacity, experiment and grow their businesses. It has provided its various entrepreneurial services to 760,000 people so far.
Jiang Yingchen is just one example of how training and upscaling can change the lives of young people, and I understand this effort is ongoing. While preparing for this program, I found out that in 2019, China will implement a upskilling action plan and put something like 100 billion yuan, that's about $15 billion US dollars, to provide training for 15 million people this year. That's indeed quite something, and I hope that this is going to give more young people a powerful tool for the future to adapt to the challenges of the future of work. But we always talk about this tripartite collaboration, right? And it is very important that social dialogue is always ongoing against all of these actions that we're taking. Yao Li from the China Federation of Trade Unions, what could you tell us about that in terms of how social dialogue is always being pushed forward while we try to provide tools for young people to prepare for the future of work?
Yeah, it is always an important task for trade unions in China to build in harmonious labor relations in our efforts of protecting workers' rights and interests, including that of those for the young people. We stand for resolving labor disputes through dialogue and consultation so as to ensure win-win outcomes for both workers and the employers. Looking ahead, the Chinese trade unions will continue to follow this principle of work and will actively participate in a national tripartite coordination mechanism and promote the system of collective agreements and collective contracts. Facing the challenges in the future world of work, we will work with all stakeholders through social dialogue so as to seize opportunities and meet challenges.
I think it's also something that is very uniquely Chinese, right? The trade unions here are actually the glue, the bridge, bringing different parts together in a dialogue, whereas in the West, probably trade union are more in a standing up for the workers' rights, but a little bit more confrontational sometimes. And I can see the determination of the Chinese trade unions to meet the future challenges and the way forward. Before this live broadcast, I understand stand, we interviewed Mr. Jiang Guangping, Vice Chairman of the All China Federation of Trade Unions and the worker titular member of the ILO governing body, to see what further views he had on this issue.
中华全国总工会成立于1925年，是中国共产党领导的职工自愿结合的工人阶级的群众组织。中国工会认真学习贯彻习近平总书记关于工人阶级和工会工作的重要论述，推动构建中国特色和谐劳动关系。近年来呢，中国工会坚持高举维护职工合法权益的旗帜，发挥好协调劳动关系的作用，健全劳动关系协调机制，及时处理劳动关系的矛盾。构建和谐劳动关系工作机制呢十分重要。中国工会呢主要从以下3个方面着手一是坐实省市县3级地方及产业的协调劳动关系3方机制；二是建立和完善工会与同级政府、产业工会以相应的产业部门的联系会议制度；三是发挥在人大、政协中工会代表的作用，及时反映并推动解决涉及职工的重大问题。首先呢，作为工会工作的重要内容，我们推动建立健全集体协商和集体合同制度，努力搭建劳资沟通协商平台，畅通职工的诉求表达渠道，使企业决策更多的得到职工的理解支持，促进企业更好地保障职工权益实现，组织职工，促进企业的发展。其次，我们积极推动健全协调劳动关系3方机制，充分发挥劳动行政部门、工会和企业解决劳动关系重大问题的协商协调作用。最后，我们坚持把和谐劳动关系创建活动作为构建和谐劳动关系的重要载体，开展全国模范劳动关系和谐企业和工业园区表彰。我们非常高兴地看到，国际劳工组织迎来了自己的100年庆典。中华全国总工会将继续高举和平、发展、合作和工人权益的旗帜，加强与国际劳工组织的合作，进一步加强与各国工会和劳动界的交流交往，携手维护工人权益，努力为国际劳工组织下一个100年，为劳动世界的未来做出贡献。
In recent years, technological innovation has brought forth the 4th industrial revolution. The emerging shared economy and platform economy, for instance, have resulted in new forms of employment, and these changes are posing new challenges to labor governance. How should governments answer the call? We interviewed Mr. You Jun, Vice Minister of Human Resources and Social Security of China.
这个当今世界这个科技进步人口老龄化和气候变化，对整个全球的劳动世界产生巨大的影响。全球的就业形态和用工方式正在处于一个深刻的转型。这个一方面呢是带来了许多就业岗位，但是劳动者的他的工作时间、工作方式和工作内容呢，它的灵活性、自主性在增强。但是呢，非典型的就业形态就越来越多，它的稳定性在减弱。那么，对于传统的劳动关系为基础的一种劳动保障制度呢，就形成了一个挑战。那么，在中国呢，也是如此。这个平台就业、网络就业这个新的就业形态在层出不穷的出来，吸纳了非常多的劳动力。据研究报告这个显示2018年，这个中国的共享经济平台的企业的员工将近600万人。那么共享经济提供服务的人数达到了7500万人，这个数额是巨大的。 那么新的就业形态带来了创造了新的就业岗位的同时呢，也带来了另外一些值得关注的问题，也就是说它的用工方式、形式、时间和内容都发生了变化，灵活性有了，但是呢，包括企业的它的在管理方面以及在报酬的给付方面呢，也发生了巨大的变化。那么就突破了原有的传统的标准的那样一个就业模式了。过去的就业格局呢，是企业加员工这么一个格局，那么逐步向呢平台加个人这样去演变。所以你套用原有的这样一个劳动治理的体系和法律法规呢，就没有办法适应新的这样一个就业形态了。我们不能墨守成规，所以必须要用创新的思维去创新我们的新的治理的模式。比如我们要拓宽我们的劳动治理体系，要健全非典型标准就业形态的它的法律法规。第二呢，我们要制定适合灵活就业的这些新的业态人员的这个劳动标准。那同时呢，我们要优化我们的这个公共服务，特别是要利用互联网的技术，把我们的公共服务的触角延伸到这些平台上去。这些新的就业业态既是挑战，也是机遇我们中国愿意同国际劳工组织一道来探索这样一个劳动世界的新的治理的模式、有效的途径。
That was China's Vice Minister of Social Development and Human Resources. So, how time flies, we're coming to the end of this 1-hour live broadcast. Before we know it, before we sign off, shall we all use one sentence to sum up your expectation for the future of work? Mr. Hao, shall we start with you?
Thank you very much. Let's celebrate proudly the achievement of the International Labour Organization and its growing members in the course of the last 100 years in pursuit of social justice.
Thank
you. Yes, thank you.
But you had a but.
But let's work together
Absolutely.
with rigor and determination to build a better world. And in this great and human endeavor, China would take active and constructive part.
Great, great. Well, we'll see what action is taken. Okay, you keep your promise, Ms. Liu Hansong.
As a representative enterprise organization, we will continue cooperate with ILO to boost sustainable enterprise, to promote gender equality at workplace, and shape a brighter future for young generation.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Yao?
Trade unions have played a significant role in advancing social fairness and justice in the past century, and I believe that unions will continue to demonstrate their value in the days to come. The Chinese trade unions are ready to join hands with all parties to work for a better future for all.
Okay, thank you very much, Hao Bing, Director General from the International Cooperation Department of Ministry of Human Resources and Social Security, Ms. Liu Hansong from the from the Chinese Enterprise Confederation, and Ms. Yao Li from the All China Federation of Trade Unions. And with that, we're coming to the end of this special live broadcast. But I want to say, 100 years ago, the founder of the ILO declared that the organization was founded by sentiments of justice and humanity, as well as by the desire to secure the permanent peace of the world. Over the past century, the ILO has played an important role in promoting the formulation and implementation of international labor standards, the realization of decent work and social dialogue. China, as the world's second largest economy and 1/5 of humanity, has played an indispensable role in helping the ILO remain true to its original aspiration while protecting the rights of hundreds of millions of workers who have made China's economic miracle possible. Looking ahead, whatever the challenges, China and ILO, I believe, will work together to implement the human-centered agenda to promote decent work and advancing social justice for humankind. We're honored to have participated in the ILO's 24-hour global tour and shared with you Chinese thoughts and practices. We look forward to watching the remaining hours of this wonderful event. Much more and exciting content to come, so do stay tuned. Before we sign off, shall we wish the ILO happy 100th birthday in Chinese? Shall we say ILO 百年生日快乐? Right. Now we hand over to our colleague in Bangkok, Thailand, and that's it from Beijing. Thank you so much for having followed us.